Hola, bon dia. Carl Munson here from Expats Portugal with the Good Morning Portugal show. And 9 o'clock came very quickly this morning. I was chatting away to Sarah, who will join us in just a moment, from Spartan FX about the respective situations in the UK and Portugal. And then, lo and behold, it was 1 minute past 9. So sorry for the late arrival of this service. Sarah, like so many of our excellent guests and partners, is a very busy woman. And so we better get her on the screen now. How are you doing, Sarah? I'm going to put you on this side of the screen because that might work better. Yeah, there you go. That's good. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. I'm well.
And talking to us from London, England this morning, right?
Yes, that's right. It's a wet London, England, so that's about right, isn't
it? And you nearly had a Freedom Day on Midsummer's Day yesterday, but you've got to wait another 4 weeks.
Yeah, another month has been pushed back, unfortunately. Okay. So nearly there.
Yes, and we did have a little bit of a moan, didn't we, about those rascals at the G7 having a lovely barbecue just before we started.
We did. It does make it a little bit harder, but they're rolling out the vaccine very quickly. Most people have had at least their first one, so hopefully that's going to be it, and that will help us get out of this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and then you can go and enjoy Cornwall for yourself as well, just like those folks from around the world did. Or last week, wasn't it? Shanisa Holberg is here. I don't know if that's a serving suggestion for us this morning, Sarah, to have is that a cocktail, a tequila dorsey? It might be a link for a friend to tune in to find out about the currency exchange rates, which we're going to look at with you in just a moment, and then asking the question, when is the right time to move the money? Paul Richards is also here. He's a money bag. He'll be moving money around, I suspect, if he hasn't already. Greetings from San Rafael. So many secret billionaires in this community. Donna Grassa, there's another one. Bon dia. She'll be laughing about that. Hello, another one here. Gary Austin, hello, lovely people. Ella Linda, good morning, everyone. Snatty Phil as well. Hello, bon dia, alegria todos. Thank you to all of you saying good morning this morning, including Jim White as well. Hello, bon dia to you and to Milda. Sorry, and bon dia, alegria to you. And Sir Lion H, who was first in this morning with that magnificent name of Sir Lion H. And Mike Campion, bon dia, restrictions being lifted this week in the Netherlands so far. A bit of a moving target. Yes, as it's proving to be in many countries, as you may know, in Portugal as well, there are lockdown restrictions for the capital at the weekend that are coming in. And we might have a little bit of a look at some of the news stories that do include, of course, the epidemic. I'm not an epidemiologist, as many people now have to say, but some people are, and they've been speculating about what might happen in Portugal. So we should bring that to you. And if you have a pension, look at the questions coming straight in, Sarah. If you have a pension paid in the UK, what would be the most efficient way to get this into euros? Do you lock rate or not? Should we deal with that straight away, as it's a specific question coming in from Snatty Phil there?
Absolutely. It's a very good question. So certainly sort of what are the options? You're right, we can transfer the money as and when you need it. We have a regular payment plan that's specifically for the UK. So what we can do is set up a direct debit from your UK account and it gets sent across automatically. So there's a lot less hassle. We can also receive funds direct from your pension company. Some people don't have an account in the UK, but it won't be as automated. If it is automated, within that, you can lock the rate. So you can lock the rate for up to 12 months. We'll speak to the dealer and they can give you advice on the rate. So you can lock it, as I said, for 12 months. So you know every month exactly how much you're getting sent across. And within that, you can either lock the sterling amount, lock the euro amount, or lock the rate. So there's a few different options within that, or you can have it fluctuating. It's up to you. So there's a few options within that. Whether you can lock it or not. Certainly, that's what I was going to touch on is the rates. Certainly for sterling euro at the moment, sterling has been one of the better performing currencies of the pandemic, along with sort of the Canadian dollar. We are recovering back to sort of pre-COVID levels. And I mentioned, I think on another radio slot, that the dealers believe that we could recover eventually back to pre-Brexit levels as well. Though that's a bit of a more longer term view. So it could be a case of, if you don't feel it's now is the best time, we can be monitoring the rates, and should that change, you can then fix in the rate at that point.
What is that rate?
There's a lot of flexibility.
Was that 120, Sarah, that the people they're suggesting?
Pre-COVID, pre-Brexit.
Pre-Brexit,
was of 140.
Was it? Wow. Okay. My goodness. How quick did you get used to it?
Bit to climb still. So it's a longer term, but
Wow. Okay. And I really feel like we should have a jingle for the exchange rates. But you've talked about the sterling there. How about euros and dollars?
Yeah, so US dollar again, that's pretty good. At the moment, from the end of May till now, we've seen a 3% increase. It's in your favor if you're moving US dollars to into euros. So we are actually seeing a lot of customers trade at the moment, even if they've not purchased a property, they're taking advantage of the rates at the moment.
Oh,
We're at 3% move, on 100,000 euros, that's an extra 3,000 euros. So what I've said before, even on, if anyone listened to the webinar, that yes, we can save you money on the day. Looking at what price you're getting against your bank, that's very important. But actually timing is very important about when you're buying it. Let us help monitor the rates. As I said, a 3% difference, that can make such a big amount difference if you're purchasing a property or moving your savings across to Portugal.
yeah.
Certainly also for, I know we're dealing with a lot of people that are buying from Canada. So Canadian dollar, again, that's been a good performing currency. They're one of the biggest exporters of oil. So they produce oil and usually export to the US. So actually, when the pandemic hit, we saw a 10% drop in the rate because people weren't driving their cars. Everyone was sort of stuck at home, working from home. But we have seen that recover slightly. So definitely getting back to pre-COVID levels for the Canadian dollar. Very much led by not just their own recovery, Canada, but the US, because they do export to the US.
Yes, interesting.
Everybody's situation is different. I haven't touched on all the currencies. Please get in touch with us, either the website, www.spartanfx.co.uk. You can email us on info@spartanfx.co.uk, or we're on the Expats Portugal directory. And we can certainly update you on any other currency pairings that we've not touched on, or monitor those rates for you.
Excellent. Any unusual ones recently? I loved hearing about the lesser known currencies.
Not so much lesser known, but sort of Hungarian, the Hungarian florin, people buying in Spain. But nothing else unusual at the moment. I think that's
the Hungarian florin. The florin is such a nice name for a currency, isn't it?
It is. It sounds very pretty, doesn't it?
Yes, and I was going to ask people in the comments today, what was the first currency they exchanged? Because for me, it was probably going to France as a teenager when they still had francs, and it was like 10 to 1, I think, and it was just so exciting to see different money, and sometimes feeling magnificent and powerful that my teenage pocket money or savings or whatever went so far in France I could buy bangers and flick knives and things like that. So anyone else who has a story to tell about the first currency they exchanged, do pop that in the comments. Things that we may have forgotten about, and of course the pre-Euro picture that would have been as well. There are people who don't remember the pre-Euro age, like Sarah possibly.
I do. To be fair, that's how I got into foreign exchange. I did a summer job working in a travel bureau with travel money and currency, and it was kind of exciting, all the different, and you dealt with a lot of different ones then as well. And it's quite exciting.
I bet. I mean, terrifying to make a mistake, because you're dealing with serious, financial transactions, aren't you? So that must have been a very exciting position to be in as a young person.
Oh, definitely. I had responsibility of the safe. There was thousands of pounds in there. It was like
the heady heights of tourism exchange. Fantastic. Okay, before you go this morning, you wanted to talk to us as well about timing of moving money before or after changing country, really. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. So we've obviously touched on rates and savings of money, but actually one of the things as well is how do you move your money once you're actually in the country? So it's actually more around the process. And we've spoken to and dealt with clients over the years that it can be a little bit more complicated. So sometimes actually thinking, I'll wait till I get there. I'm just going to rent. I'm looking for property. Obviously, we're monitoring the rate. That's great. But actually, just ease of transfer. It could be less hassle for you to actually move the money before you actually move to Portugal. Because we've seen instances, for example, in Canada, some Canadian banks won't transfer Canadian dollars out of the country. So it still means you can do it, but it means you have to use the bank. So you're subject to the bank rate, which we touched on before. There can be a massive difference, about 3 to 4%. And we have seen some instances where it's up to 8% difference. So it can be quite expensive to do it through the bank. And it may be that you don't want to find you move and actually you have no choice but to use your bank because your bank won't send the Canadian dollars out. So that's worthwhile to double check. Every bank's different. Everybody's situation is different, but it's certainly worthwhile check. I think with Canada, we found that the Canadian Imperial Bank's quite good. They will exchange the money. So it's worth checking that out. The other thing to bear in mind is that there's daily limits on internet banking. And that's really for everybody, even as in the UK. So, again, if you're looking to purchase a property and you've got a deadline and you suddenly find you've got a 10,000, 20,000 US dollar, sterling, Canadian dollar limit, it's going to take a while for you to transfer that money if you are purchasing property and you've got a deadline. The other thing as well is check what you need to do. Some will say it's fine, you can speak to us on the telephone to make that transfer. Others will request you to go into branch. Others will request you to sign documentation. And again, those can't be done if you're already in Portugal and you don't want to find that that's a hassle. So make sure that you're covering all that. A few people have mentioned before about charges. Again, everybody's bank's different. We've seen some banks charge nothing for an international transfer. Some banks can charge up to, we've seen in America, up to about sort of 85 US dollars. So what may be worthwhile looking into again is who do you bank with? If you've got a couple of banks, maybe check which one and move your money to that bank. Or again, just investigate so that you make sure that you're maybe with a bank that doesn't charge you a lot for international transfer fee. The other thing to bear in mind is that someone will say, oh, well, it's going to charge, using your service, it's going to charge me X amount of dollars to move to you to make that exchange. If we save you money, for example, on the rate, that could outweigh that cost. So doing it through your bank, yes, you've got an international transfer fee, but then you've got your bank rate. Whereas with us, we can save you money on the rate of the day. So that could actually offset what you're paying on that transfer fee with the bank. With us, there's no transfer fees. We're very transparent with our costs. But obviously, if there is a transfer fee with your bank, there's not a lot we can do about that. But you may find you'll actually save more money on the rate. But as I said, do investigate before you come. Find out what the charges are, what's the process, what do you need to do before you actually move, and that just might help improve that process when you've actually moved to Portugal. Or as I said, it may be that actually it might be easier for you to actually move the money before you actually leave.
Yes,
could be a lot less hassle.
Best not to make assumptions or leave it too late, as with many things in life.
Definitely.
Okay. Yes, and Snatty Phil there responding to these charges and restrictions that banks put on. I'm sure you wouldn't necessarily want to comment on this, but Snatty Phil says it's hard not to dislike the banking system. However, Elra says unless you work in one. Good point. To which Snatty Phil is making a little bit of an apology there, I think. So have you won any awards recently? I know you have a few under your belts there at Spartan FX. Any recent ones?
No, so it's just at the moment it's the FIFO Gold Award. So that's for all our 5-star reviews from our customers.
Excellent.
So you'll be able to see that if you go into FIFO or if you go on our website, you'll be able to follow the link and read our reviews. And we've had some lovely reviews. Actually, if you go to the Expats Portugal on the directory on our listing, you'll see the reviews that we have on our page are actually from Expat Portugal members.
Brilliant. Well done, everybody. Excellent stuff. Credit where it's due. Stephen Wells is here as well this morning, and Paul and Louise. Hola, bon dia todos. And Paul Richards' first currency exchange. Check this out, Sarah. The Austrian shilling in 1956. And that was probably a very substantial looking note, I suspect, and coins as well. Because that's another thing. Is I think money, like cars, has got more boring to look at. I don't know if others want to comment about that. Would you agree?
I don't know. I quite like what the Australians have done.
What have they done?
With their, they've got some sort of clear.
Oh, yes, a little panel. Yeah, so that's, yeah. That's
sort of, yeah. So, and obviously now it's sort of this sort of like plastic feel. The notes, that's changed as well.
Yes.
Not sure about that. But yeah, theirs is quite, I like that little, it's a little bit different.
Yes.
But it's always sort of, that's the thing, isn't it? It's quite exciting when you go on holiday with your cash because it's a little bit different and it's always quite colourful and
Certainly different, and certainly different. And thank your lucky stars, anyone in currency now who doesn't have to work in furlongs or whatever they think. And Guinea.
It sounds like some sport.
Yeah, no, wrong word there for sure. But look, in sterling, pre-decimalisation, a florin was 2 shillings, somewhat less than half a crown, which was 2 shillings and sixpence. Complicated, right? Thank goodness in that respect for decimalisation. Sarah, have a great day. All the best to your.
That's fine. Thank you for having me. As I said, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's bank, there's different restrictions in different countries. Our team have a lot of experience, so please do get in touch. That's probably the best way. Certainly, again, give yourself as much time as possible speaking to us, because there may be that we can actually help you before you leave. Whether it be monitoring the rate to help you buy at the right time, or even just navigating some of these restrictions with your banks, we have that expertise. So Carl's put the link, either contact us through the directory or direct through our website. It's free to have a conversation. We can chat over WhatsApp as well, because I know a lot of you are abroad, so to remove those costs, we can chat by WhatsApp. Free to have a conversation, and just worthwhile checking out your options.
Now, there's something a bank won't say to you. I heard somebody was asked to ring their bank, who I know, and they were calling them from Portugal. And the call, I think, because they had to use their UK mobile, cost them £90 or €90, I think, obviously because of their. No, it'd been £90 because they were using their English mobile. Which, to be fair to the bank, because of all the stress that was caused, they did refund in the end. But that's quite a shocker, isn't it? So you speak to Spartan via WhatsApp over the internet. How progressive and excellent is that? And yes, I think that's a good idea. I always love talking to you, Sarah, and to Ben. And these are real people you get to speak to at Spartan. And there's another difference. You can open your account, have a chat, and see if you like working with somebody who you can get to know, rather than a distant operative whose name you'll never remember, and you'll get a different person every time if you're dealing with the mainstream banks, I think. A thank you from Snatty Phil there, as from me as well. So have a great day. Yeah, as I said, all the best to your colleagues there in London at Spartan FX, and we'll see you again next month.
No problem. See you soon.
All right. Ciao for now.
Thanks.
Bye. There she goes. Sarah Davey from Spartan FX. Excellent. With us every month with a currency update and like a person-to-person human being chat. Isn't it great? I don't know if many sort of corporate banking people will be able to go off-piste like that and talk about answer questions that aren't on the briefing sheet, as these things sometimes seem to work. Carl, when you visited Lisboa recently, did you go to the Museum of Money? It's in the old Bank of Portugal building. I bet that's fantastic. The old Bank of Portugal building. Is that one of those columned places, like you see in American movies, with marble floors and a vault at the back? Very interactive for children and fascinating for adults. We do need to teach children about money, don't we? And I think I'm reading between the lines here, reading between the comments, and finding out from Snatty Phil there. I think a commonly held belief that banks aren't really there to help you necessarily and have a certain kind of agenda, as we all do, to be fair. But yes, the relationship between everyday people and banks is a strained one, I think. And isn't it good to teach children about the truth about money and how it really works, how the money system works, but then and the different part of it, which is how wealth works and how abundance works. What great skills to give to children. I wish I'd been given them. Thunder Duck, I'm working on it. The Museum of Money is excellent. The admission is free, says Thunder Duck. You would think the Museum of Money might at least have a token charge just to get you into the spirit of the thing, but that's good to hear, Thunder Duck. Thank you to Sarah from Jim White. Currency is great as long as you don't drop your baht. Very good. But the Thai currency, of course, I think it's actually an old church, says Thunder Duck, of the Portuguese Money Museum, or the Lisboeta Money Museum. Oh, I found something out, actually. Yes, talking of Lisboa, I did, or Lisbon, to as it's more generally known among English speakers, but Lisboa. When I was talking to the receptionist, I've got a name drop again, Martin Yao. Fantastic Rita, lovely Rita. When you hear the name Rita, you're minded to say lovely Rita, right? And Rita greeted us. She was fantastic. And I said to her, "Are you a Lisboeta?" Just prying a bit, as I do, as you may have observed here. And she said, yes, Lisboeta, and Alfacina, I think she called herself. And I'm thinking, okay, where's that? I've heard of Alfama. I don't know where Alfacina is. And I was thinking that was the part of Lisbon she lived in. But no, the people of Lisbon are the Alfacinas, the lettuce people. And apparently there are all sorts of reasons. It's not settled. There are reasons why possibly the Moors called the people of Lisbon Alfacinas, the lettuce people, because of their ruffled outfits and the ruffs around their neck looked like lettuces. Or when they assaulted Lisbon, the fields were agricultural, so they were growing lettuce, and they were called the lettuce people. If you have a better explanation of that, do let me know. Every day's a school day here. Alfacinas, yes, there you go. Elra, you're an Alfacina, aren't you? I believe. Well, your family's certainly from that part of the world. Let's see about from these comments that we've missed this morning. I think only Paul so far who remembers changing his pounds, shillings, and pence in 1956 into Austrian shillings. I bet that was a real moment, Paul. It wasn't just a casual walk into the Marks and Spencer's Bureau de Change or the post office, was it? I bet you felt really important. Maybe even took a briefcase to do that. Okay, Jordinja. Oh, Anna Olsen was in first, actually. Bon dia from a 29 degrees warm Stockholm. That sounds nice, Anna. Jordinja, good morning to you, Anna, and good morning to you, Jordinja. Hola, bon dia from a beautifully sunny Lancashire. What? Seriously, it's actually sunny. I'm not kidding. Well, hold the front page because there's actually some sun and a lack of rain that often characterizes Lancashire. Well, good for you, Jordinja. Nobody knowing really how the weather's going to be at the moment, it seems, anywhere in the world. Just read that in the UK, caravans and trailers are going to be subject to on-the-spot checks by the Ministry of Transport there, of course. So people can't go abroad on holiday. And now they are going to be clobbered if they holiday in the UK. What's happening here? What do we suspect that's about? Because I know that there has been. I'm looking at a news headline in Lisbon, in Portugal, obviously, and chaotic scenes in Lisbon as hundreds stage a meandering protest. And I think that when I first read that, I thought that was the motorhomers of Portugal, who are upset because they are being subject to new restrictions, which means they can't stop as freely as they used to. And is this a crackdown across Europe of people who live in a mobile? What do they call them? The van lifers. And this is quite worrying reading, Gary. Where was that? The Mail Online? I wonder. But hopefully that these sorts of freedoms won't be curtailed or limited in severely, because I know part of it seems to be the few bad apples who tend to leave their waste by the side of the road where they stop and ruin it for everybody else. And I hope it's only that's causing the authorities to be a little bit more on the edge of the seat, as it were. But it may be something else is afoot here. Gary is reporting to us. Were you a caravaner? Have you owned a caravan, Gary? Van lifers, caravan lifers, do let us know about your caravanning anecdotes as well. And if you, as well as exchanging into Austrian shillings, you also dragged a caravan. And in 1956, a caravan was a very different beast. I suspect. I wasn't actually born then. Wow, yeah, I wasn't even born then. When people may have dragged I was going to say, Paul, dragged a caravan with a Model T Ford. I know the vehicles are a little bit more modern, but what would have been a classic holidaying caravanning combo in 1956? I wonder which British vehicle would you have used for that, or a Ford or something like that, to drag a caravan across Europe. And now again, we take these things for granted, don't we, with the ease with which, well, until recently, of course, we were able to do that. But these things would have been a big deal for people, wouldn't they? And there would have been people with motorcycles and sidecars and all sorts of interesting combinations traveling to the continent, is what they would have called it. And in those days, the continent wasn't a supermarket. The continent might have been where you went if you were going on an exotic holiday to see the Europeans. Hola, bon dia a todos from Paula Louise. I think we've done that, but there's no harm in saying hello twice, is there? And Mark Rigby's mention of furlongs and leagues back in the day there, money-wise. Yeah, Snatty Phil, you're right. I mean, I didn't want to put Sarah on the spot too much, although it sounds like Spartan FX giving the banks a good run for their money, literally. It's hard not to dislike the banking system. Oh, yeah, and I should say here on this, it's Consumer Tuesday, hence Sarah's appearance here from Spartan FX. We talk about business, money, and all that kind of stuff on a Tuesday. And I want to tell you about Expats Portugal's own business development in just a moment. We're proud to have become officially a Portuguese business. So I will read you our official news release about that. Gary Austin also say this show is great. Yeah, such attractive guests, and that Frank is a real hottie. He is, and ladies who want to see more of Frank. I guess I should be careful how I choose my words, but we're hoping to have Frank's official MIA missing in Algarve calendar as a possible Christmas present later on in the year, with 12 different shots of Frank in 12 different parts of the Algarve. Please send any advance orders in for that in various states of dress, of course, as he would be in the Algarve. Mainly just the budgie smugglers and shark tooth necklace combo, and really looking very brown and leathery there. Unless you work in one. Oh, that was, yes, Elra coming to the defense of banks. Should HR be watching? Yes, banks are excellent, aren't they, Elra? Paul and Louise, yes, mentioning the Museum of Money, which is great. And let's catch up. Oh, Ramesh Kumar is here. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. To you, igualmente. To you. I love the word abundance. Yes, isn't it beautiful? We can all experience that, can't we? With realignment of the thought forms, I think. And I'm going to issue an invitation to you now. I meant to get back to you, Phil, on you joining us on Thursday. Would you be happy to come and join us on the show the day after tomorrow? Sorry to do this to you live on air, but why not? You're here, I'm here, and we mentioned the word abundance, and that's the sort of thing you may well be talking about on Thursday when you join us, and of course talking about your favourite parts of Portugal on Places and Spaces Thursday. But I do like the cut of your jib, you and Kimberly, and your way of seeing the world. So if you join me on Thursday, I would be very grateful. Fiona Doherty is here as well. Bon dia, a bom dia there, an explosively good day to everybody there from Fiona. Thank you for that, Fiona. And the Barts. Yes. Any other favourite currencies? I cannot recommend The Richest Man in Babylon enough for children. Nice one, Pete. Good morning to you and Diane. A great starter and available as an audiobook. I've done that classic thing with Audible. I think I might have signed up on another of Pete's recommendations. It might have even been this one, Pete. So I thought, okay, Audible. I'll sign up for Audible to get me my monthly book and take advantage of whatever offer they had. And on behalf of credits are piling up, and I'm not buying them. Typical. It's like the modern version of the book club. Does anyone remember that, where you got sent 3 books a month? And if you didn't send them back, which most people forgot to do because they were busy, they had to buy them. That was an interesting business model, wasn't it? Pam's here as well. Pam, who's Ask Our Expats video we played the other day. Haven't received any others, Pam. You set the bar high there, talking about Alcobaça. Good morning to the Roonies, if you choose in, who love Alcobaça as well. So good morning to you, Pam. And yeah, come on, where are you, other Ask Our Expats? This Thursday, we'll see the visa webinar, myths and misconceptions about visas. Gilda will be with us to talk through those. Here we go. That's this Thursday, Living in Portugal, Residency Visas, Myths and Facts. And then the one after is the Ask Our Expat special, where the team come on and you can get a room with them and quiz them a bit more about their lifestyle and location, which is always a lot of fun. Jersey's here. That's the first one, the first Thursday of July. Wow, July already. Not far away. Hola, bon dia, alegria. From Jersey. The Alfacinas, yes. What's your theory about that? Oh, yeah. The version I know, says Elra, is because we grew lettuce in Lisbon's farms, and you'll still see some fields along highways, especially on that Ribatejo Valley, right? Going up on the old road towards Santarém. I really recommend that, actually. If you are wanting to go north and you've got time, go across the Vasco da Gama Bridge out of Lisbon and take that route up that way and go via Golgão as well, through the Ribatejo Valley. Maxine's here as well. Bon dia to you. Bon dia, alegria, Maxine Williams. Oh, yeah, the rest of the week. We've got Mia back on Friday as well. And tomorrow the doc should be here with Ask Anything About Portugal. So, and hopefully Phil and Kimberly, and either or both on Thursday for Places and Spaces. And it makes sense, perfect sense, expressed in dollars and cents, pounds, shillings and pence. Oh, yes, money. I believe is that what that's from? Not a massive Floyd fan, but is that where that came from? I remember the joy of changing GBPs, Great British Pounds, sterling, to Italian lira for the first time. Did you have to take a wheelbarrow for those, Natty Phil, because you felt very rich getting lira, didn't you? Because they were in the hundreds and thousands, weren't they, compared to sterling, if I remember rightly. Bon dia to you, Joel, who may have had occasion from anecdotes he's told us previously to change into Polish currency. What are they? Zlotys, are they called? Bon dia from Lucas Kozanecki. Good morning to you, Lucas. Bon dia to you. It's sunny. It's Scotland again today. The weather's upside down. 2 sunny days in Scotland and a sunny day in Lancashire. What's happening? Snatty Phil asking, oh, yes, I think because Phil and Kimberly are motorhomers, checked in what way? Would that be like an MOT on the spot sort of check? Let us know more, please, Gary. Boris, what? Boris Smallweenia. Well, there's an erudite and random, possibly erudite. Well, I don't know. It's just a random comment, isn't it? I wonder. Is that was that Boris's offering to the barbecue of the G7, the now infamous barbecue of the G7 group, who are hugging and kissing pretty much, much to the consternation of others viewing, who they lead in the world. The lead were looking at that and not exactly feeling great about it. I'll leave it at that for now. I was only 10, says Paul Richards, and my first school trip to learn to ski. The holiday cost 30 quid. Brilliant. So many parents would be so glad now, wouldn't they, if their child came home and said, Mum, Dad, I want to go on a skiing holiday. It's only 30 quid. It's like, yeah, sure. Take your brothers and sisters with you. Fantastic, 30 quid. I wonder what it costs now to send kids on a school skiing trip. And it's all changed, isn't it? Paul, I mean, I want to know more about this school skiing trip of £30. Imagine the health and safety what wasn't quite what it is now either. My great mate, Damien in the UK, my best man, told me of a story when he was at school, where he was hanging upside down in a crevasse by a binding. I don't think things happen so much like that, do they, thankfully, to children? But I guess it made you the men you are today. Mark Rigby, to what follow on from Gary, the UK is going to introduce £1,000 fines for people who camp on the beach. What? Oh, my word. What's going on? The world's gone mad. Just like Porto, people are known as the tripeiros because of the tripe dish they make there. Well, that's classic, isn't it? That the people in the north will be known for their tripe. It's pretty similar to the UK, isn't it? I don't want to, so I understand. I'm not making any judgments there. And then you've got the, swish boetas who are compared to lettuce rather than the intestines of dairy cows or whatever. Long story coming from the Discoveries times. Okay, so the tripeiros and the alfacinas. Any other local Portuguese nicknames we should know about? Sorry, not sure if it's from the Discoveries or the Liberal Wars in the 19th century. Please get your facts straight. You know how keen I am to make sure everything I say is absolutely factually correct, Elra. Not here, but that just tells us a lot about you already, that you even know that there is a distinction between the Discoveries and the Liberal Wars of the 19th century, which makes you a history professor compared to the rest of us, I think. Here, apart from Pete, Carl, you have created images of Carry On Camping, although that was yes, with Sid James and Bernard Breslaw and of course Barbara Windsor. Although it was probably more 1960s. Yes, the sidecar combo and maybe a fold-out tent in a trailer. I mean, those have come quite a long way, haven't they? And they don't smell. Tents just don't smell like they used to, do they? And nor do caravans, for that matter, with the gas lighting that they used to have, when gas lighting meant something different. Yes, had caravans, says Gary. Jordinger, I can confirm the Museo de Niro is, and do you know how many people go there thinking it's the Museum of Robert De Niro, I wonder? It's a very impressive old church, but it does have marble floors and a bank vault and a huge chunky circular door. Yes, where you would imagine some of the Oceans 11, 12, 13, Oceans 57 maybe will be filmed in that building because it sounds right for it. Paul, Louise and Lottie. Louise's grandfather used to tow his caravan all over Europe. You see, there's an intrepid explorer. Switzerland, Austria, on those roads, those mountainous alpine roads, I suspect. Germany, Italy, etc. He had a big Rover with leather seats. You knew you were on holiday, didn't you? When you were, travel, tourism, motoring, all very different then. And it would have been handbooks, wouldn't it? And guides that would have been on the dashboard or in the glove compartment next to the driving gloves, possibly. 12 different parts. Thank you for that, Paul and Louise. 12 different parts of Frank in the Algarve. No, 12 different shots of Frank in 12 different parts of the Algarve, Gary. Come on. We need to get this right so that we don't attract the wrong sort of audience and customer. It would be an honor. Okay, so we'll see you guys on Thursday to talk about abundance. And I believe, I mean, if you want to summarize what you are, your approach to life in the comments, that would be great, Phil and Kimberly. But looking forward to talking to you on Thursday. Fabulous. More attractive guests there, Gary. Abundance. Too much is always better than not enough. Yes, to share, to go around, of course. And that is, I think, how the world is configured. And it's just the minds of men that live in fear and greed to sort of reconfigure it in a not so brilliant way. Paul and Louise, wasn't it me? Usually reminds people to press the thumbs up button. Thumbs up and bottom shouldn't be in the same sentence there, Paul and Louise, but I see what you mean. But yes, and yeah, if anybody wants to do, I'll enunciate that correctly. If anybody wants to do a thumbs up button, then please go ahead and do that. It came from Roger Waters' solo album, so he's been obsessed with money probably all his musical career. Then the song is Perfect Sense. And which successful musician wouldn't at some point become obsessed with money and have money challenges? It's the stuff of rock legends, isn't it? To have a manager robbing you and all those sorts of things, and to become very mistrustful of people, and maybe to blast all your money away on binges of various kinds. 101 good lettuce tours of Portugal. There's another stocking filler idea. We're full of them. This is the Cockerel's Coupe Day. So if you've got a business idea, we've launched the Frank calendar, and it should simply be called the Frank calendar, shouldn't it? Which kind of leads you to believe it's going to be frank in some way, as well as being of Frank. It's going to be frank in nature. Be still my beating heart. 101 good lettuce tours, another coffee table book idea launched here. Zlotys, the Polish coin. I thought so. Zlotys, great name. Erudite or crudité. Works very well. Thunderduck, thank you for that. Andrew Gilchrist, morning all. Morning to you, Andrew. Safety checks with on-the-spot fines for caravanners. We're going to have to search. I've got to balance this show up with some good news. It all comes after an accident where an uncoupled trailer killed a young boy, sadly. Oh, yeah. Yes. And then from that point of view, you can completely understand it, can't you? It was the time when Manchester United team plane went down. We just missed that return flight. My goodness. Yes, 1956, of course, the Busby Babes there, Paul Richards. That's chilling, isn't it? And your parents, I'm sure, hugged you extra tight when you were. Oh no, did people hug each other in 1956, or did you still shake hands with your parents in those days? But I get if it was handshaking, I bet you got a very loving handshake from your parents on your return, or an extra pat on the head. Well done. And be seen but not heard in the back of the car now. I spent my childhood. Sorry, that's not necessarily a caricature of your parents. There, Paul. I spent my childhood holidays in a caravan around Europe, says Andrew Gilchrist. Some of the best and worst times of my formative years. Character building stuff for Andrew Gilchrist in the caravan being towed around Europe. Probably because there was a time, presumably, before it was outlawed, that you could be in the caravan whilst it was being towed, and then something terrible probably happened, and then that was not allowed anymore. Interestingly, yeah, I wonder when that was. Tripas Amo de Porto was born on the necessity that Infant Dom Enrique had for sending ships to conquer Ceuta in 1415. Not that you remember that, Joel. The Porto residents were asked to relinquish their meat for the sailing ships. What? And they sent the sailors off with tripe. Tripe again, a bit like whale meat again. Always in the car, good, glad to hear it. And a Mark III Cortina. Again, that is character building stuff, being on the back seat of that without a seatbelt, I suspect. Tripe, leaving the Porto people with the spares. Yes. Oh, I see. They sent the best meat with the sailors and kept the I've got an invader. Talking of the discovery, somebody's trying to discover the studio, and I think he's about 2 years of age. Tripe leaving. Okay, so the tripe stayed behind and the good meat went off with the sailors. Excellent. Glad to hear that the priorities were right there. My first holiday away independently at 18. It was when I bought a trailer tent to go to Cornwall in my beloved Cortina. When it rained, it had 12 inbuilt showers. Very good. Very wild camping there, Gary, ahead of that trend for using rainwater, grey water showers there. Brilliant. Yes, mine was going with my mate Hanley to the south. We drove from UK to the south of France in a 2CV, and how cool we felt that we could flip up the window of the 2CV to sunburn our elbows as you would as two young men heading towards Port Grimaud and Saint-Tropez in the south of France. Happy times on the road there. Bedbugs in France, that kind of thing. That you may remember. Okay, let me talk to you now, and this is the story for Business Day here on Consumer Tuesday, Money Business. We talk about that sort of thing on a Tuesday, don't we? There's a lot of production goes into this, I don't just throw it together. And I would like to share with you a picture. Look, this will be a little bit of an introduction to you about the people behind Expats Portugal, which is you. I mean, in a great way, of course, because this is a community endeavor, Expats Portugal, and we pride ourselves on being a community and running the business here. Is Gerry on your left there, obviously, Astrid in the middle, and me on the right there. A picture we took when we had a meeting long ago in Lisbon, at the Parque de Nações, Park of Nations there in that wonderful part of Lisbon. And we are now proud to be a Portuguese business officially. The person you're not seeing there is Sally. Sally, of course, who you'll see on the webinars from time to time, and who's incredibly helpful and a brilliant part of our team as well. So sorry, Sally, you're not in that particular picture. But let me share with you the news that we are proud to be a Portuguese business. We're delighted to share that news because we have officially become a Portuguese business. And though you are told occasionally, it only takes an hour to become a Portuguese business. Don't worry, it's very easy. Who was it? Somebody said, one of you wags, I think, who's here today. It takes you a minute, 60 minutes spread over 60 different occasions or something along those lines, or 12 lots of 5 minutes spread over many days, possibly months. And it can feel a bit like that, to be fair. We are still trading proudly as Expats Portugal and serving our 8,500 members. So nothing's changing drastically, except the shift from being a UK-based business to a Portugal-based business proper, which we think is the right thing to do as we operate in Portugal and are encouraging and helping people to come to Portugal and those who already live here, as is illustrated in the comments today and the people present this very morning. The online community-based website, there you go, it's all about community, was originally set up in 2005 by a gentleman called Simon Pownall, bit of history here, who bought a house in Portugal and wanted to help others avoid the pitfall. So we go back a long way, 16 years to 2005 when Simon moved to Portugal. In 2019, Gerry Lawler, originally from Ireland, and Astrid Fernandes, originally from Australia, gave the site a new lease of life and were joined by me last year. The new team have been keen to stay true to the original purpose of having a friendly community forum and place for Portugal's expats and potential expats to hang out. And at that point, I would urge you, because I think some people know Expats Portugal and the Good Morning Portugal show and come in via this portal and don't necessarily use the forum. The forum is an amazing place of information and sharing and community. Go to expatsportugal.com/community to get involved in that. If you've not done it or have been meaning to, pop over there, free to use. So based on our friendly and informal approach, Expats Portugal, we've been responding to a huge surge in interest in moving to Portugal, of course, from all over the world. And we talked about this with Gilda yesterday, didn't we? These last 3 or 4 years have been amazing. The upsurge in interest in Portugal, quite rightly, because it boasts a relaxed lifestyle. You can tell I'm reading a little bit from our news release here, can't you? But relaxed lifestyle, affordable cost of living, amazing weather, beautiful coastlines and countryside, and a welcoming atmosphere. Have we summed it up in a single sentence there well enough? I think so. That's Gerry talking there. Having gone through the recent effects, continues Gerry, of Brexit and the pandemic, we're here for the long term. And it's only right we trade as a Portuguese entity, said Gerry. And Astrid's contribution, we think we offer an amazing amount of free information and a great value for money with a basic annual donation of €47 that gets our premium members a great range of discounts and perks on every kind of service they might need. I wonder if they'll get a discount on the Frank calendar. We'll talk to Astrid about that. We're also pleased to say that we now pay tax here in the country that offers us so much, of course, as from the point of view of being a Portuguese business. Expats Portugal has recently introduced Ask Our Expats and the property search services to complement the online offer where prospective migrants can quiz established expats about location and lifestyle, as well as secure their all-important new dream home. So there's our news. Sharing with you there. Proud to have become officially a Portuguese business. That's us, Expats Portugal. Gerry, Astrid, and me there on the screen. So what else are you saying in the comments? Might cover this news article about the police. The police have caused chaotic scenes in Lisbon. The police have staged a meandering protest. Now, in Europe, and perhaps this might be characterized as a Southern European thing, because I remember going into Spain, flying into Spain once, and there was a protest going on of workers, and they processed through the airport arrivals hall in the Costa Blanca. Which one's that? Malaga, is it? And yeah, the trumpets and whistles and drawing attention. And I think the Portuguese police have been doing this recently. So I'll come back to that in just a moment. But let me see what you've been saying in the comments here. 3 times to organize one thing. I wonder what that means. Okay. So yes, we've talked tripe. Some would say, what's new? Okay, the good-looking one may not be with us, unfortunately. This is on Thursday when Phil and Kimberly may or may not join us, but I think Phil will be here. However, I'll be happy to fill the screen and explain our concept of life and what's going to be going on when we get to Portugal. Fantastic, Phil. 3 times to organise one thing. Okay, yeah, that's starting. So that's bureaucracy in Portugal. The first trip is to find out what you're going to need for the second trip. And for Andrew, it's probably 3 trips in his experience. Morning all. Hello, John. I still have to give you credit for this, John. The man who came up with the Keeping Up with the Kardashians idea, which will be a franchise, I can assure you, a Silver Coast soap opera, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That was brilliant, John. And yes, sorry to respond to yours and Paula's message a little bit late. I was taking the weekend off and didn't respond to you as quickly as I would have liked to, but I hope everything's good. PM me if there's anything we need to talk about. Gary, time to mention this week's wine. Yes, indeed. Oh no, not that one. That's an unfortunate one, which we won't talk about at the moment. This one, wine number 50. Thank you, Gary, for that prompt. It is the Vidigueira signature, and Mr. Neil Perkins is returning to the screen to talk about this one, to lead us through it. Eloise may well be there too, and I'll be retiring from the wine club because it's my birthday soon. I'm gonna have a dry year. So we've tasted 50 wines, and that's a good effort, I think. And it's been a lot of fun. But I'm gonna have a dry year. And so the wine club is open to different sort of leadership and ideas. But this is the wine we'll be tasting on Thursday, and we'll be having a great time doing that. There it is, the Vidigueira signature, a white from the Alentejo. Thank you for mentioning that, Gary. Let's go back to your comments. I love this community, says Natty Phil. Yeah, more and more we realise, won't we, that that's where our wealth lies, in the people we know and love, really, right? And seeds and land as well. Milda, congratulations on the step forward and establishing a new form of business. Thank you, Milda. That's what we've done. We can help others do that as well, of course. So what we know, we share. I love Expats Portugal. The folks there were instrumental in helping us get here. What a wonderful community. Thank you, Thunder Duck, for that. Always nice to hear, actually. And, I do recognize this, and I do feel it, but it's always nice to have it confirmed like that, Thunder Duck. I love this community too, says Andrew Gilchrist. Thank you, Andrew. Posted the link to the Portugal Resident Gardening Month by Month guide this morning on the Expats Forum. There you go. We do a gardening Q&A on a Monday evening. Louise is brilliant in there and has reposted the Portugal Residents Gardening Month by Month guide in there. And I suspect we'll get more questions actually through the forum, which we've overlooked because we have so many tentacles as a community. Yes, we must tie that up, the gardening Q&A and the forum, of course. My bad on that. And a heart from Andrew Gilchrist there. Bon dia, Carl. Congrats on becoming a Portuguese business. I love your show. Thank you, Kia. Love you too. And what is it that interesting fella, Alex Belfield? Anyone following him at the moment? I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think you might have nicked that from Ken Dodd, who we used to tour with. Carl, great, helpful team, fun, help, and lifetime friends. Yes, absolutely, Paul. Isn't that great? Thank you for that, Paul. And we love the show too, Paul and Louise. Thank you, Paul and Louise, and Lottie. We bought our first house in Portugal in 2006. Remember Simon and joining expatsportugal.com. Even back then, it was a great source of help and information. Yes, sadly, Simon's passed away now, but what an amazing legacy he has in and being the founder originally of Expats Portugal. Amazing. And what a great memory there, Susan. Thank you. Carl, make sure you get the correct one. Yes, all right, very funny. I bought Villarreal tend to do their wines same label but a red and a white. It's a very corporate approach, and I bought and I chilled the red instead of the white last Thursday and ruined it, sadly. But yes, it's going to be obvious that it's a white this time, but thank you for your concern and help there, Andrew. Congrats to you on a dry year, and happy birthday to you, Carl. Not till July, but thank you for that in advance, Pete. Appreciate it. Thunderduck, dry year. I can do a dry month, but not a year. I just thought I'd try it. Led by Michael Heron, actually, a young fella, one of the Man Cave Juniors, I call him and Richard, who are doing the football coverage. And he said to me, it was very unlikely that, as it occurred to me, that Michael would give up drinking. Not that he's a terrible boozer or anything, but we used to enjoy a beer together. And he said, I'm stopped drinking. And that made quite an impact on me. Non-alcoholic beer has improved, but not all of them. Yes, Andrew Gilchrist, that was a very terrible name for a wine, wasn't it? If they are at it again, it's because little to no change has happened since the last time they were protesting. They protested back in the 90s. That's the Portuguese police. We must have a quick look at that. Happy 40th birthday. Well said, Andrew. Very good. Thank you. Yes, and I look forward to drinking again when I'm 41. Very good. Babs Bra just sold for 9,500 for charity. Wow. Mark Stowell, that is very good info coming in, isn't it? That's like what, 4,750 per cup. And that is the actual one that was in Carry On Camping. What a legendary movie that was, with Sid James and his dirty laugh, having lots of fun with the Carry On crew. And where were those films made? I was actually lucky enough to be a film extra back in the day. And I think it's Pinewood where the Carry On films were made. And I walked down those hallowed hallways where those films would have been made, where those legends would have been larking about. And I'm sure, behind, not on camera, they were very different people, as often comedians tend to be. But it was such a hallowed place. I think it was Pinewood. Bon dia from, yes, and good for that charity. I'm sure that the headline writers of newspapers went to town on that. A snappy headline escapes me for a moment, but you might think something like, Babs Bra scoops 9.5 grand for charity. Yes, feel free. Bon dia from Provence, France, from Robert Winkle this morning. Good morning to you. We never really drank wine until coming. Hey, Robert, in Provence. We never really drank wine until coming to Portugal, but €4 a litre and great quality. Trying to remember when we paid that in UK and can't. Maybe because I didn't drink. Pinewood and Elstree, where the Carry On movies were made. Thank you for that, Andrew. Okay, so let's take a very quick look at this then, with the Portuguese police. And also I'm desperately trying to find some good news to end with, and in the tradition of sharing news, and we need an upturn at the end, don't you? Or not a sandwich exactly, because not the feedback sandwich where it's a compliment, an insult, then another compliment. In the news world, it's the cat rescued from up the tree, isn't it? And I'll do my best to find you something along those lines. But yes, here we have. The police having a meandering protest. So at the very least, we can introduce you to the idea of meandering protest if you're not familiar with such things, because I'm not. There was chaos in central Lisbon yesterday as hundreds of police staged a meandering protest, doubling back on itself midway, just to confuse everybody, to carry on policing. To the ministry. Hold on, just have a quick sip of water. Bear with me for a moment. Talk among yourselves, if you will. Oh, that's better. Portuguese water. But you have to drinking more of that next year, or after my next birthday. There was chaos in central Lisbon, so they doubled back on themselves on their way to the Ministry of Interior Administration from Parliament, causing heightened traffic disruption. Isn't it funny though? Because often traffic police do heighten traffic disruption, don't they? The demo was organised by Movimento Zero, the inorganic anonymous movement involving PSP and GNR agents that has been described as linked to the extreme right. That's a bit chilling, isn't it? The label appears more expedient than connected to any reality, thankfully, says Espresso. The people its journalists managed to interview said they were not aware of any extreme right bias, but everything out of the ordinary these days has been dubbed extreme right. Well, that's a fair comment, isn't it? Or far left as well, to be fair. Anything we struggle with, it kind of sort of push down the political spectrum, don't we? I say we, I mean, as a society, nobody in our intelligent community would do a thing like that. The mood obviously was one of antipathy. In the wider context, demonstrators were calling for better pay, as you would hope, right? And recognition. I mean, that was the basis of any decent strike, isn't it? Better paying conditions and recognition of the risks associated with the job, which I'm sure are many and increasing. We are not a superfluous expense, read one placard. But in another sense, there was a lot of chanting and demands for the dismissal of Interior Minister Eduardo Cabrita, who seems to have become the scapegoat for everything that demonstrators believe is wrong with the system and its power makers. Said one of the many in the crowd, the government must listen to us. There are urgent measures that have to be implemented. I mean, it's been a difficult year, hasn't it, for police all over the world. And it's been a difficult year for some people who've experienced the police over the last year, it has to be said as well. The choice of day for this protest was made in commemoration of a demo staged 32 years ago. Oh, this is what Joel was talking about, that pitted police against police. That's a sorry day when that happens, isn't it? On that occasion, water cannons were used against PSP agents. As SICK television news stresses, SICK being the brand, not a comment about the news coverage. This time, there wasn't anything like that level of tension, but it is nonetheless unusual and far from ideal to see police defending Parliament from fellow officers. Interesting times then in Lisboa there. So, here we go. Let's go fluffy. Let's go sunny and fluffy at the end of the show here and give you 244 reasons to visit the Algarve. And I hasten to add, I'm not going to be reading all 244 to you. Just have another sip. Yeah, don't worry. We need to finish now, don't we? We've got things to do. What are you up to today? Let me know. 244 reasons to visit the Algarve. Award-winning beaches woo summer tourists, unless you're from England. UK. A campaign highlighting the many awards the Algarve's world famous beaches have recently won the listing. 244 reasons. Why 244, I wonder? Why tourists? I mean, Paul Richards wrote 144 of them on his way to 365, I suspect. So 244 reasons why tourists should choose the region for a summer holiday has been launched by the Algarve Tourism Board. Not only was the region elected the world's best beach destination at the World Travel Awards, the WTA Awards, the Oscars of international tourism. If anyone's watching is from that, I'd love to MC that, and do a kind of Ricky Gervais, or who are those sort of MCs of those things. I would love to do that and say, ladies and gentlemen, live from the Algarve, it's the World Travel Awards. Gives me great pleasure to present these awards tonight, and we could bring on various people from our community to present them, couldn't we? Oscars of international tourism. Sorry, I digress. Its beaches have also accumulated several quality awards, which are even more reason to visit the Algarve, says RTA, which is a difficult name and an acronym, isn't it? The Algarve stands out as a region with the most zero pollution beaches. Here we go, the nitty gritty. 14 zero pollution beaches will have in the Algarve, 4 of them being located in Tavira, and 3 each in Faro and Vila do Bispo. To receive the coveted title, a beach must obtain impeccable scores when its water is tested. If a single vestige of microbial contamination is detected throughout the last 3 bathing seasons, the beach is automatically excluded. That is a high bar. The Algarve is also the region in Portugal with more beaches receiving the coveted Gold Budgie Smugglers Award. No, only kidding. Receiving the coveted Gold Quality Seal from the Environmental Association Quercus, which I believe is Latin for oak, is it not? Which is also awarded based on the quality of seawater. So there you go. Albufeira stands out as the borough with the most Gold Quality Award beaches, 20 of them, and 45 beaches also fly the white flag for, yes, surrendering to peace and serenity. No, the white flag for meeting the needs of people with reduced mobility. Isn't that great? As part of the Praia Acessível, Praia para Todos, Beaches for All program. Excellent news, and a picture of a beach and some people on a beach, as you might expect, and more people on the beach carrying surfboards. That looks a little bit staged, but it's, you know, it conjures up the right sort of image. And there you have those people, those three beautiful people with their surfboards that don't look like they've been used actually at the Praia de Cordoama at Vila de Bispo there. Vila de Bispo, oh, you've been there. That's an amazing place. Okay, there you have it. That'll do for today, apart from to find out what you've been saying about Carry On, Tribe, and anything else and what you're doing today. Sid James Dog, track betting slips are easily available, says Pete Peach. I don't understand that. That sounds like a code to crack there, Peach. Sid James dog track betting slips are easy. Oh, yes, because he had a penchant, didn't he? Always sending the runners out to put a bet on. Okay, yes. So they're not worth much on for charity auctions, presumably. One from Kenneth Williams might be, because I imagine he was a fairly risk-averse sort of fellow, just guessing. But yes, 10 a penny, Sid James betting slips from the dog track. Not one of my best impersonations, Gary? We're meeting up with another US expat couple today, then tomorrow heading up to Figueira da Foz for a couple of days. Nice one, Thunder Duck. Football tonight for Gary, for what it's worth. Yes, indeed. I feel like I should be on top of that. Who's playing tonight? Is it England? And Kia Easley, zero pollution beaches sounds like a dream. Absolutely. Plenty of them in the Algarve there, Kia, as we've just outlined for you. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks to Sarah, who was with us earlier on. Join me with the doc in the morning and then with Snatty Phil on Thursday if you want to see the man behind the intriguing name of Snatty Phil. And then Mia Esmeras from the European Portuguese Language Academy on Friday. It's a good week ahead, and I hope you have a good day today. It's coming up. The tour bus is coming home without a cup in it, I suspect. I shouldn't be talking like that, should I? All the best to all the boys, and let's not be negative or cynical about that. At some point, British football, English football, will improve, and something will be won. It's just a numbers thing, isn't it? It's just math eventually, and time. Ciao all from Andrew Gilchrist. Take care, folks, and bye for now. We'll see you real soon. Where's that outro sequence? Oh, here it is. Now go out and enjoy Portugal. It says, if you're lucky enough to be here. Ciao, ciao.